the sports you do and don't know, both within and surrounding Baltimore. Don't ask him about preseason games, oh no. Stuff and things in Griffin Basso. Despite it being on the internet, he can call it what he wants, so Glenn Clark Radio. Glenn Clark Radio. Glenn Clark Radio. Duke sucks.
Liner. Oh, is it a double play? It is. Oh, my goodness. Olsen reaching up to grab it and then beating Alonso to the bag.
Yeah, for me, I should have took a shorter lead. I thought I was pretty close to the bag, but turned out that still needed to be shorter. That's really tough. I mean, yeah, that not being able to cash in there, that obviously was a huge blow.
Yeah, it was. Now, someone would say, would the Orioles have scored a run anyway? And it's easy to think, probably not. They're not very good at that. Hi, good morning. It's Glenn Clark Radio. We've reached Monday. The most insane part about this is the Orioles lose this gutting weekend series to the Braves.
They could have won all 3 games.
Absolutely. They could have gone 5-1 last week.
Yeah.
Reasonably speaking, it's easy to say, like, hey, if you have one catcher maybe available to you, you go 5-1 last week. That's not actually true, but I understand why people feel that way. But the crazy part is you lose this gutting series. You feel like it's a reminder of the Orioles just not being good enough. And yet you wake up today and they're 2.5 games out of a playoff spot. And therein lies the rub. It's what makes all of this so friggin' difficult to discuss. And why people get so mad at me when we've talked in the past about the Rutschman conversation, why they're still going to be mad when I bring up Trevor Rogers in a minute. Because you look up and you say, well, I mean, you're only 2.5 games out, which is insanity. It's insanity. This team is not good. And yet, they're only 2.5 games out. Coming up on the program today, we'll talk more about the Orioles with Brad Brach of Birdland Territory. Super Bowl champion Femi Ayanbadejo. He's got a new show. What's it called?
Is it the afternoon drive? Is that what
the
they
drive?
Or
yeah,
just the drive?
I think the final. Is it the final drive?
Something the drive.
But he's joining Ken and Tim in the afternoons over on The Fan, so we'll talk to him about that. And also Marc Trestman, former Ravens OC.
The final drive.
The final drive. Look at me. I know things. Marc Trestman, former Ravens offensive coordinator. He's got a new book out called Teaching the Game. We'll talk to him about that, about the Ravens, and much more. He spent some time with Jesse Minter out in L.A., so we'll get some thoughts on that as well from Marc Trestman. As far as the weekend goes, the Orioles you could say they could have swept the series. They were, one ball away from winning on Friday night and won anything with the bases loaded and nobody out yesterday away from winning. The flip side argument to that is, in regulation, not counting the runs that they ended up tacking on Friday night, but if in the 9 innings of a baseball game, how many total runs did the Orioles score this weekend?
They scored 3 on Friday, right?
3.
And then 3 Saturday, so 2 yesterday. So I can do math. 8?
8? One of them yesterday was, of course, an utter incomplete gift. Ozzie Albies was just like, I can field this ball. But it's more fun to try to win an extra innings.
No. He purposely, when they hit the ball, who was it? Was it Holiday? I forget who hit it.
No, Holiday didn't Holiday walk?
Whoever, yeah. So was it Gunnar? No, it was
I
Beavers.
can't remember.
It was Beavers.
Yeah.
No, I can't remember either. It was a lefty.
Yeah, there was one out.
But whoever it was purposely put spin on the ball.
Is that what it was?
Yeah, that was a base hit.
I see. Sure. I'll go with that. Who was it? Riley, of course. Austin Riley in extra innings with a double on a ground ball through the infield. You don't see that very often, do you? What I'm trying to say is you can say that they could have won the series, or they deserved to win, or whatever you want to say. But the truth is they scored 8 runs in regulation, one of which was an utter incomplete gift, and I'm not even thinking about whether or not any of the rest of them were gifts. I think there was at least one other one that was.
Well, obviously Saturday night that Jim Jarvis was like.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Just had no interest in catching the baseball. But I don't remember if the Orioles actually took advantage of the second one. They didn't take advantage of the second one, right? Like they. This is what I always go back to.
Well, the one inning was he dropped it, and then there was the line drive hit right him as well. And
right. The one that he absolutely dropped though, just boom.
Yeah, I think was that the 9th inning.
They didn't take advantage.
I think you're right. Yeah.
Be here for a while trying to remember everything. Well, they had. No, that wasn't the 9th inning because they scored in the 9th inning.
All right, I was pulling up the play-by-play from yesterday. Now I'm pulling up the play-by-play for yesterday or Saturday.
Fault.
My how's it my fault?
Because I'm getting lost in the sauce. They weren't. What?
Hold on. Okay, so the bottom of the 8th, they went 3 up, 3 down.
Mm-hmm.
Unless they ruled one of these like a hit. No, okay.
The one that he dropped was not a hit.
Well, he dropped 2.
No, but this one was the egregious.
And both were Alonso. Yeah, no, both were egregious.
This one was more egregious than the other one. This one was just the sheer.
It was the 7th. Yeah, he dropped one, and then they went 1st and 3rd. So they had Alonso and Holiday 1st and 3rd with 2 outs, and then Gunnar struck out.
Right, that's what I thought. Yeah, that's what I thought. They didn't take advantage of that one because again, good teams take advantage of extra outs. The Orioles aren't one of those. They're not a good team.
They did take advantage of it to the 3rd, though.
They did.
Yeah.
So that means even another multiple gifts
because our best player, Encarnacion Strand, was due
That's
up.
Right.
Not
that is
Gunnar.
Correct.
Not
that
Gunnar.
is the reason. Singularly, that's the reason. Look, man, this is what it is. The Orioles have turned into a team that can pitch and can't hit. That's weird.
Well, they can pitch until they take the starter out.
Well, right. Look, man. You say that, but Tyler Wells was great yesterday.
Yeah, Rico Garcia sucks.
And when all of a sudden Rico Garcia's giving up.
Actually, he has to give up 1 home run.
Yeah, and then he's fine, right? You just can't put him in. I've said this before. Rico Garcia, it's weird. He needs to pitch. He needs to be the guy that comes in when runners are on base. When he comes in those spots, he's phenomenal. When he comes in for clean innings, he's gonna give up a home run. They're also asking to win 1-run games. They're just not scoring runs, period. They're not doing it. And yes, it hurts to have to play with a hand tied behind your back because your catchers aren't major league capable, but it's not just – it'd be one thing if everybody else was producing except the number 9 spot. Nobody's producing. Period. Other than Christian Encarnacion Strand, carrying the offense on his back. It's not a good baseball team. Two things I want to address before we get into the meat of the show. The first is the Alonso thing. Because, one, he was safe. He was safe. It was very clear when you watched the video. But what Kevin Brown said is what we were all thinking, which was, of course, that for whatever reason, this burden of the call on the field was going to factor in because the umpires were going to say, it's really close and gee gosh golly, is there a small chance that maybe part of I can't even remember who that is. Is that Olsen? Who is it?
Yeah,
it's
Olsen.
Yeah. That part of Olsen's foot might have been touching the bag, maybe for no. Pete Alonso gets his hand in before that foot comes down, and it couldn't be more. You don't even have to slow it to frame by frame. You could see it right there. We all have eyes. We all have brains. This is a problem that exists within replay. I've talked about this dating back to a conversation I had with Mike Pereira when he was still the head of officiating in 2008 when the stupid Santonio Holmes thing happened. Look, it's one of those ones where you think that Olsen's going to be back first, so you understand why he called him out, because he's closer. But every time you look at it, this is Braves vision, I guess, that we're getting it from. Every time you look at it, it's unbelievably obvious that Pete Alonso gets his hand in before the foot comes down. It couldn't be clearer. But this is what we do. When replays are close, the burden becomes the call on the field. Instead of getting the call right, we default to it's so close that we better just revert to the call on the field. We say things like, this isn't what replay was meant for. In 2008, Santonio Holmes caught a ball in Baltimore in December where he was at the goal line. His feet were in the end zone, but no one on the planet could tell if the ball was actually touching the plane of the goal line. There was no clear and obvious evidence to overturn it. So when they overturned it, we in Baltimore were furious. And everyone with a brain that was neutral said, how could you overturn that? The burden's supposed to be clear and obvious. And I talked to Mike Pereira about it that year at the Super Bowl, and Mike Pereira said, I tell my guys when they go under there just to get the call right. Which, to be fair, wasn't the way the rule was written. So he was kind of telling his guys, don't give an S about what the rule says. I still disagree that that you could even tell at all that the ball was touching the plane of the goal line. But I appreciated the sentiment, which was stop caring about this burden of the call on the field. The call on the field doesn't mean anything. It should be meaningless. You look at that. What happens first? The foot touches the bag or Pete Alonso's hand touches the bag? And there is no world we could do this for the rest of time. There is no question as to which occurs first. It is indisputable. But we still say things like, yeah, but the call on the field was that he was out. So, if it's close, oh my God. How does anyone see that shot and say anything other than, hey, man, we got that one wrong? Now, to the point, would the Orioles have scored afterwards?
Yes, that's what they do.
Probably not. We could have been doing this for a long time. Bases loaded. Orioles ain't great in those circumstances. But the fury is deserved because it's not about this play. It's about this insane, asinine, backwards way of thinking about replay where somehow the call on the field carries more weight than your eyes do. We have the ability to see what happened, but we have to weigh what was caught on the field. Burn it with fire, this thought process. It's deeply embarrassing. We all have the video. It's right there. Second, Pete Alonso shouldn't have even been a foot off the bag. And this is a difficult conversation to have because it's so antithetical to our concept of baseball. Baseball says, you got to be moving. You got to get to the next bag. If that ball's on the ground, you got to be running. That's what we think of with baseball. But an organization that's supposed to be data obsessed should be the first organization that should be capable of saying there is absolutely no benefit to Pete Alonso getting to second base here. None. Zero. If the ball is hit in the infield, the throw is not going to second base. If the throw goes to second base and they turn a double play, the Orioles win. There will be no throw to second base. Pete Alonso should not be a foot off of first base. And it's a weird thing to think about because it is so antithetical to the concept of the game. But it's one of those unique, it's like how teams know, hey, in this situation, pull one of your outfielders in and go with 5 infielders in this spot. A baseball team has to know in this spot that this runner is of no value to them. The only thing that matters here is the runner on third base. So what can't happen, there can only be negative for you being off the bag. You can't gain it. Getting to second base is of no help to us. None. And the best argument you can make is, well, what if it's like a little tiny dribbler out in front of the plate and the catcher steps on home plate and then tries to fire it down to second to get another out? But again, in that spot, if you're Pete Alonso, you know the ball's on the ground and you've taken off for second base. There's a 1 in a million that this exact scenario could play out, and the ball is so close to home plate, the catcher can pick it up with his foot on the bag. The point is, they need to know that. And they need to convey that to Pete in that moment. Hey, man, you're going to want to play baseball here, but we're telling you, you don't play baseball here. You need to act like a ghost runner. Because you can only do harm. You can't help. You can't. Period. Because you are irrelevant. And should Pete Alonso know that? I mean, afterwards, he said, obviously, well, I was too far off the bag. But the point should really be, I shouldn't have been off the bag at all. At all. If Olson's standing on the bag and the ball's hit right to him, Pete Alonso should still be safe because he never left the bag, because there is nothing to be gained from Pete Alonso leaving the bag. It's just a weird anomaly about that exact circumstance in a baseball game. It's very specific, but if you are as data and, analytic driven as the Orioles are supposed to be, then it's something that should be conveyed from top down. Hey, make sure whoever it is that's on first base right now knows they can't leave the bag. And to be fair, I hadn't thought about it until this happened. Now, I'm not, in the front office or
you're not getting paid $155 million.
Any of those things. So, a little bit less burden on me than there is on the parties involved. Final thought. Oh, we got to get to Femi.
You can do it. You got 90 seconds.
Yeah, this is going to take more than 90 seconds.
Well, if you're able to do it in 90 seconds.
I'm not. I'm telling you, I'm not. If
I
was,
it and then
we can clip other things. There are other things to clip. We'll probably end up doing a long show today because this is the one time that we ever book guests. It's nice. Although they're all friends. No, Marc Trestman's not really a friend, I guess.
Oh, we don't like Marc Trestman?
No, I mean he's been on with us before, but I don't know him. I wouldn't be like, hey man, good to see you with Marc Trestman the way I would be with the others. The others are friends. Marc Trestman's a acquaintance at most. Nice enough guy. Although, if I remember correctly, the last time we had him on, this is a straight shoot. We invited Marc Trestman on. This is because DeVere Posey had signed with the Ravens, and he had DeVere Posey with whatever CFL team he was with at the time. I don't remember, with Montreal, Toronto, one of them. And so I said, oh, you need to call Trestman, see if he'll come on and talk about DeVere Posey. And we talked about DeVere Posey, but believe it or not, there wasn't a whole lot to be said about DeVere Posey.
Should I know who DeVere Posey is?
He was a receiver that signed with the Ravens and had been had been a thought of guy out of Ohio State.
Oh, okay, Ohio State. You do take a flyer on that.
Ended up in the CFL. And this was at a time where the Ravens were desperate for wide receivers. And Kyle and I remember it said, sign a big one, trade for one, find a guy in the CFL. One of our bits was look under every rock that you can to try to find receiver help. And so when they signed DeVere Posey, Like, everybody else is like, oh, there's what the Ravens are doing. And our point was, yes, do everything. You're so bad at this that do anything to try to find receiver help. So I wanted to talk about DeVere Posey.
He was the Grey Cup MVP.
I think we even had him on when he signed, honestly. This is back when we used to have everybody on when they signed. Like, literally the biggest stars in the world, where they would sign and we would have them on the next day. And then, so I said, reach out to Trestman. We'll talk about DeVere Posey. And he came on, but there was only like, after 5 minutes on DeVere Posey. I mean, we did 5 more minutes than it was justified to do about DeVere Posey. So then I think I asked him something about Joe Flacco, and he very much said, I said I was going to come on to talk about DeVere Posey. And I was like, oh. All right, well, thanks for taking the time for us. So the history would suggest that we are definitely not more than acquaintances. Definitely not in the friend zone. Acquaintances only, for sure. Today's show brought to you by the print issue of PressBox, which is available wherever you find PressBox around town, all your Baltimore area High's Dairy stores. It's free. Kevin Brown. I wish we could have done Kevin Brown in the Hawaiian shirt on the cover. That would have been better. But this is still pretty good. Kevin Brown, Orioles play-by-play voice on the cover. Go get that right now or read it at PressBoxOnline.com. This man is a media mogul. He has taken over Baltimore media. You're now going to be hearing him afternoons over on 105.7 The Fan on The Final Drive with Ken and Tim. He's been writing the Lamar articles over at Baltimore Beatdown. He is Super Bowl XXXV champion and our friend, Mr. Femi Ayanbadejo, and he's back with us now here on GCR. What's going on, brother? How are you?
Doing good, man. How's it going? How are you?
I'm great, man. Summer's been amazing. I hope your summer's been wonderful. You're really. How do you have time for all of this? How do you have the ability to do another 4 hours a day on top of everything else that you're doing in your life, brother?
Man, I just, you know what? That's actually a good question, but I figured it out. You know,
okay.
Obviously I haven't done it every day yet, but I'm pretty confident I'll be able to handle the workload. You know, I'm an early riser. You know, I go to bed fairly late as well. So yeah, if I'm not doing a bunch of stuff, I don't feel like I'm being productive. So, you know, I enjoy writing, and a lot of this stuff is well thought out in advance, right? Like none of it's on a whim, right? So I've been taking my time back from other things that I was doing kind of in the digital health and consulting space, which was a big part of my business since grad school. And I've really been, you know, moving more toward my passion projects, which is digital health and sports media. I consider myself obviously like a freelance, analyst when it comes to sports and mainly the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
And my goal is always to kind of live at the intersection of, you know, analyst, athlete, you know, admirer of sports and the athletes and the leadership, as well as and someone who thinks accountability is important as well. I think I can hold all four of those thoughts simultaneously and let them guide me in a way that, you know, verifies information, that doesn't get in the head of the individual that I speak of. I'm respectful and thoughtful. And if I don't know, I don't know. And if I triangulate something, that I state it. Hey, this is my thoughts. I triangulated this. You know, I've heard this from certain people and certain things. I'll only share what I'm supposed to and not what I'm not supposed to. And I'll never make anything up. Like, that's the most important thing. I feel like the journalistic line that journalists have always touted as verification and thoughtfulness and not being first, but, you know, being factually driven. And then you have the content creator side. And I think all that stuff is blurred now, you know, and you look at what's out there in the ether, online, streaming, and on TV, and it's a lot of opinions and not verified. You know, everyone's got their hot take, and they make it pretty easy for me in regard to the lane that I want to live in, because there's so much stuff is just made up, in my opinion, you know?
I understand that, Femi. I understand. This part of it, though, like doing it this way, why we talked about this because last time you were on, you were talking Orioles with us, and I know that's what you've been doing. You've been doing the shows with Bruce. Why did it interest you to do it this way as a talk show host instead of, to your point, as a football analyst, as the, you know, doing the color for the games, you know, when you were doing that? Why was it interesting to you to do it this way, to talk about other topics, things that maybe aren't just Ravens, NFL, things along those lines?
Yeah, I think that sometimes it's the path of least resistance. A number of positive things just kind of align themselves, and it wasn't like how sometimes when you're really grasping hard for something, the momentum of that grasp pushes the thing that you want further away from you. In this situation, I kind of let it come to me a bit. Could I have done streaming and maybe a podcast and gone another route? Yeah, potentially. But this is the opportunity that seemed the most enticing. It feels good to be wanted. And I took kind of a slower, less of an aggressive approach with it. And I love being I do enjoy having a microphone in front of me, because the way that I look at it is I'm just talking to my friends about like what's happening in the sports world, whether it's the micro, picture of what's happening today or this week, or what happened in the past, or what I see going forward. It comes to me very easily. That's kind of how we ended up here. I wish I had a better, more kind of a epiphany-driven response. But yeah, sometimes the path of least resistance and opportunity and outreach and collaboration, it kind of puts you in a certain place. This is where I am.
The Final Drive, 2 to 6 every afternoon over on 105.7 The Fan, starting today with Femi, Tim, and Ken. Femi's with us here on GCR.
Starting Wednesday. I start Wednesday.
Sorry, Femi. I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, it's all good.
Get it right.
No, you're good.
It starts
on
Wednesday then. That's the day that it starts.
Yep.
As I mentioned, we're talking Orioles the last time, and I've seen some of what you posted on Twitter, particularly about the pitching staff, and obviously right now the pitching staff is carrying the Orioles at the moment, and I'm in this weird place, Femi, because I worry that they're kind of chasing the dragon a little bit. That yes, they're only 2.5 games out, but boy, we've got over 100 games worth of evidence about the imperfections of this offense, to say the least, in an outfield that's not producing. And could it click at some point? I guess. I don't know that the pitching staff can get better than what it's been right now. I am starting to lean more towards I don't know, it feels a little bit like you're chasing something if you're aggressive at the deadline that isn't real. I don't know that I see it, and I really do also wonder if maybe the better play is if Trevor Rogers is going to tell you he's not signing until he gets to free agency. He is really valuable right now. It's a very easy thing for me to say and more difficult for an organization to do it, but it just, I don't know, it feels kind of fool's gold to me right now to try to be aggressive at the deadline.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, there was a stretch there where I think the O's won like 10 out of 14. And then obviously they had, what was the 7-game win streak, right?
Mm-hmm. On either side of the break.
I think when things, I feel like when things come together, you feel like this team has a high ceiling, but then we're reminded about the defensive woes and where the bullpen is and the injuries and the inability to drive, matriculate runners around the base paths, and the inability. And there's been stretches where we're hitting with runners in scoring position has been good. But some of the guys that you want doing it consistently that should be doing it just aren't. You know what I mean? And then you kind of look at what's happened with Blaze Alexander, that injury. He and Brandon Young have been like my 2 MVPs, the guys that, I've latched on to, because when I started really, really, really diving in and paying attention, those are the 2 guys that I was like, Brandon Young, Blaze Alexander needs to be playing every day, and Brandon Young is a number 3 guy in the rotation right now. Like, that should just be stated and a known thing. We shouldn't be afraid to lean into that and say that, hey, these guys have exceeded expectations to some degree, and they deserve that credit. And they deserve to kind of maybe even feel comfortable about what the rest of the season looks like for them. I mean, I'm sure if Blaze was healthy, he'd be in there, at third base. I would think 80% of the time, 75% of the time. But I can't disagree with you on where you feel, how you feel about the Fool's Gold. I mean, right now their playoff chances are 19%, and that's the 3rd wild card spot. I get it. But based on where Mike Elias is, and would we agree that his seat's a little bit hot? Would we agree on that?
I would say that, but obviously every time we hear from David Rubenstein over the weekend, glowingly speaking of Mike Elias, and you and I both know that, an owner's never going to say to his general manager who's in the position, I don't know about this guy. I get it. I just don't know enough about his contract extension when he was named president to know what the appetite would be for this ownership group to make a move at the end of the year either way.
Yeah, I think what we can say is that regardless of what the ownership has said, and we understand that if we're just looking at this, and forget it's the Orioles, if it's any organization, we'd say, you know what, do we have the right guy in the right place? I think it's a fair question, right? It's just a fair question. That being said, I would say that, is it 3 games out of the wild card right now?
2.5, amazingly.
2.5. Okay, 2.5. Okay, yeah, they're 2.5. So to me, you kind of got to fight your way through it. I don't think being complacent and sitting back and assuming that you're like, if I'm, and look, this is perfect, Glenn. This is me taking my medicine and giving you the example. If I am Mike Elias, I have never spoken to Mike Elias. I do not know the man at all. I can't speak to his tendencies or some anecdote about a conversation. I don't have that. But what I can say is that I can imagine myself in his shoes. And if my seat was hot and we're 2.5 games out of the wild card, our starting pitching, which to me, starting pitching wins championships. I look at starting pitching the same way I look at NFL defenses. That's how you win championships, right? In the trenches. And so I think the starting pitching has been really, really good as of late. You got Rogers, you got Boz, obviously you got Brandon Young, you got Bradish. I mean, these dudes have been looking really well. Now, run support hasn't always been there. The defense hasn't always been there. Running the bases hasn't always been there. Hitting with runners in scoring position hasn't been there. But you've seen glimpses of it at certain times, right? So glass half full, I'm going to do whatever I can to get this team at least into the 3rd wild card spot. That might secure my job. That might give me more opportunities going forward. And plus, it would just be a huge feather in his cap probably. Now, obviously, that's me looking at a very short time horizon. That's looking at where we are right now and navigating the injuries. I understand that there's a bigger lens than that, and some people may choose to look at a bigger lens. O's fans that have been O's fans since birth, they're probably not even hearing anything I'm saying right now, and I totally get it. But I'm only coming from a perspective of should they be buyers or should they be sellers? And the way that I operate, I'm always a buyer until I'm forced to sell. That's how I look at it.
I think that is like it's awkward because I'm saying that I wouldn't. But Femi, what you just said is I think that's what we really do want organizations to operate with. Hey, if you have a chance, go take that chance and go do it.
Yep.
I'm just so skeptical about what that chance really is that it makes it difficult for me, Glenn Clark, on the other side. Femi,
well, I think one more thing, Glenn. I think every year, and especially in recent history, I feel like I remember Arizona doing this, and maybe Cleveland has done it. I don't have the data in front of me, but these teams that just go on these crazy runs at the end of the year, and because I'm a National League West guy, I'm a Giants fan. Like I've seen like Arizona make a crazy run to the World Series. And once again, I'm not saying the O's can make a crazy run to the World Series, but teams make late runs and they make the playoffs.
Well, even the Rangers team they lost to that year was
the Rangers.
Was
exactly.
Yeah.
It was the Rangers. And exactly. So my point is that no one can tell me that the O's aren't talented. They're talented. Like, you know what I mean? Like I think they're talented. Now are they consistent? No, that's kind of why they are where they are. Is the American League consistent? No. That's kind of why they are where they are. Is the run differential good enough? It's negative. No, it's not good enough. And some of the self-inflicted wounds aren't good enough either, right? And I understand that. But it just takes, like, can you imagine if I think Gunner's issues between his ears, the dude's one of the most talented guys in baseball, top 10 guy, top 20, however you want to look at it. Does it click for him at a certain point here? I like where the rotation is. Obviously, I think you need a couple arms in the bullpen to really solidify a playoff run and get that 3rd wild card spot. But me personally, I don't care, like 10%, 20%, whatever it is. You're 2.5 games out of the 3rd wild card spot. Like I can hone in on that number. I just believe that you have to go for it. And if it costs you your job, so be it.
Femi, the Ravens obviously kicking off training camp this week. They make a move late last week, and I haven't even had a chance to talk about it yet because I was off, but Chris Moore is one of my favorite human beings on the face of the planet. A lot of people know my history with Show Your Soft Side, and he has been like such a champion for animals. I love that dude. He is a great special teamer, and has proven in Washington recently that he probably had more to offer as a receiver than I think a lot of people ever realized he did early on in his career. That said, while I'm thumbs up on Chris Moore, I think it's the flip side of that is it's telling us the Ravens were not swimming in the deepest end of the receiver waters, which you and I have talked about before. I think you and I were in agreement, like that we weren't going to panic if they didn't, that, we thought they could, but it wasn't the end of the world. Are you good with the group of pass catchers they're putting out there?
Yeah, I was good before they signed Chris Moore, and I'm fine with Chris Moore as well. Like, I don't see any reason to have any acrimony or negativity around signing Chris Moore. Like, what did you want? I've thrown the name Keenan Allen and Deebo Samuel out there, but I think when you bring in guys with names like that, now you're challenging young receivers for time and opportunity. And I don't think that's the message that they wanted to send. I don't think I can think of a time in recent history when I was so high on the ceiling for this receiver room. I know they're unknown commodities. I know Declan is an unknown commodity. I know that Posick with his injury is an unknown commodity. But I trust my judgment. And once again, my ability to sanely and objectively look at where this team is going, looking at the history of these kids when they were in college, how the Ravens in general tend to move talent and prepare guys to be NFL players. Obviously, what I'm talking about is more organizational. There's a bunch of new coaches in the building, so I don't know them personally, nor can I speak to the efficacy of their ability to draft and prepare players to be successful. But Elijah Surratt and Jacoby Lane, in my opinion, are two really, really talented receivers. And I look at, Tez and Zay, and I look at just and Bate, right? And I look at the variance in skill sets. And I feel like this is the most diverse room they've ever had. Yes, we can all say that there's questions, but I feel like the ceiling on what these guys can do collectively gets me really excited. And then remember, we have the tight end room really happy about. And Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry and this offensive line, we've seen Lamar do more with less. Let's be real. You know what I mean? And so I just don't think that people take into account, this is Femi's analysis, right? This is me triangulating what I think matters most. You can only have 5 skill guys on the field at one time. That's it. You only have 5. So all the receivers are not going to be out there at once. You're going to have a mix of position groups and different packages that have to play together and understand what the objectives are. But as long as the offensive line is protecting Lamar, and I think this line is going to be mauling, and Lamar is healthy and Derrick is healthy, I think, and Zay, obviously, Zay had a great year last year and the Ravens still ended up 8-9. My point is that everything runs through the fronts, and that's not just a Ravens thing, that's an NFL thing. But I do believe that the Ravens did the things that they needed to do to shore up their front seven, to shore up this offensive line, and to make sure we don't forget what we do here. We stop the run, we run the ball, and we want to do our best to not hurt ourselves. In the past, we've always said, like, hey, this is what we're going to do. You know what we're going to do, and we dare you to stop us. I don't think that's the case anymore. I think with Jesse as technically calling plays and Declan calling plays, I think there's going to be a lot more deception, disguise, and things that look like what they're going to do, but they're going to be running different things off of that. I think that's going to be the change.
I like the sounds of that big time. Femi, before I let you go, you want to tell everybody about Pickpool?
Yeah, you know what? So Pickpool is a company that I formed a number of years ago. We are living at the intersection of kind of fantasy, prop bets, and player performance. Super easy. Go to pickpool.com, or you can actually just go into the App Store, and it's PIQPOOL. We got a bunch of free pools that are up for people in the state of Maryland. So literally, it's free money. Somewhere between $20 and $50 of free money. We have a couple of NFL pools up. Season-long NFL passing touchdowns, week 1 rushing yards, week 1 passing yards, and also a UFC pool is up as well. And a couple of those are free, by the way. So yeah, give it a spin. I'm really happy with that.
I'm downloading it right now.
Yeah, do it, brother. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think.
I absolutely am in. Femi, you know this. I've told you this before. You are insanely good at this. I'm happy for you. I'm really happy for Ken and Tim. Because this is going to add a lot to what they've been doing. Can't wait to hear you, brother. It all starts on Wednesday. The final drive afternoons over on The Fan. Go get them. Appreciate you. You know we'll be talking to you, my friend.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate you, brother.
Love you, buddy. Femi Ayanbadejo, Super Bowl champion. Appreciate him taking the time for us and happy for him on the new gig. It is a Monday edition of Glenn Clark Radio as we continue along. Let's keep talking some football. Our next guest, former Ravens offensive coordinator, former NFL and CFL head coach. He has a new book out. It's called Teaching the Game. He is Marc Trestman, and he is with us now here on GCR. Coach, it's Glenn back in Baltimore. It's great to see you. Thank you so much for taking the time for us. We really appreciate you doing it.
Glenn, it's a privilege to be on with you. It looks like it's hat day.
It is.
So
everybody.
you got to have a hat on.
Now, wait a second. What is yours? I got to figure out what I'm looking at.
Do you want to put a bet on it, or do you want to just take a shot at it?
It looks like an M&T. Is it, Mark?
Oh,
It's
I couldn't even tell that. Oh, yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
How long have you been doing the Marc Trestman? But can we now? This is the real question. Can we get some hats sent back here for us?
This is Travis Matthews. You can go into your local store. Or
Oh, it's
go
not
on to
even Marc Trestman. Oh,
Mathis.com, and I'm sure you'll be able to find a hat.
All right, we'll go that route then. Coach, teaching the game, kind of a love letter, it seems like, from you. Tell me about, why. I know you've written before. Why was this the route that you wanted to go? What you wanted to convey with this book?
Well, thanks for having me on. This is a look at it right here, and I'm really proud of it. It all started back at the University of Michigan when I visited Jim during training camp. He had a evening meeting called Teach the Game. When I went to the Chargers with Jim in 24, he had me put together these Teach the Game meetings, which were evening meetings, hour-long meetings, where we would have different aspects of the game being taught by different coaches. That's really the genesis of the book, and I decided that after retiring in March of 25, I was going to sit down and basically write a thank you note to the coaches and the players who had contributed to me learning the game. And so I sat down. It started with basically, I felt that every coach, every player should have to see the game from the eyes of the quarterback and standing behind the quarterback. So the first 1/3 of the book is about the quarterback position, how he's coached, and all the different elements of playing the position. It goes into the week in the life of the quarterback, 40 seconds between each play, and then it goes into a situational football from all three phases, from all three sides. Um, as I say, the book isn't my book, it's our book. I grinded on it for 18 months. I'm proud of it. And I think along the way, I'm hopeful it'll help coaches at every level, players at every level, and to get to be better at the game and to help them teach the game, and for fans who want to know a little bit more about it.
Coach, I'm going to ask a dumb guy question. Although basically, if it's me, they're all dumb guy questions.
There are no dumb questions.
We were talking earlier in the show from a baseball standpoint. There was this very specific circumstance in the Orioles game yesterday where the bases were loaded in the bottom of the 10th inning, nobody was out, and Pete Alonso, it's a line drive to first base, he gets doubled off, and we realize, oh my gosh, in this spot, the uniqueness of this spot, Pete Alonso shouldn't even been leading off of first base, right? Like, he should have just been stuck to the bag because his run didn't count. And we just, as much baseball as we've watched, we've never thought about it. As someone who has been around football for as long as you have and has done it at the highest level, who's been a champion, do you still find yourself, like, learning things about the game? You mentioned, like, these meetings and other coaches. Do you still find things from time to time where you're like, man, I thought I knew everything there was to know about this sport, and here I am learning something new?
Well, you think you know everything, you really know nothing. You never stop learning. I will say I've been teaching a leadership course at the University of Miami Law School for the last 5 years, and I incorporated in the last chapter a leadership just a leadership handbook for young coaches and coaches of all and leaders. And the one thing I found in my life, I've never stopped learning. And football's an interesting game. It's 11 on 11. There's probably 11 to the 11th power, exponential different ways of looking at the game. And that's one of the things I reflect on in the book. The book isn't the answers to every question. The book is a way of looking at situations, whatever they might be. And they're not always the way Declan Doyle or Jesse Minter will look at the game, but it will open it up to questions and conversations that can help better the game. But we never stop learning in football. We never stop learning in life. And I think the hunger to learn is what's motivated me throughout my career. It still does as a retired professional football coach.
What was the most important lesson that you had to learn, either playing in high school, college, the NFL, or as a young coach, in order to have a 5+ decade long run of playing and coaching? What was the single most important lesson that you needed to learn about football, Coach?
Well, it's really an excellent question. And I would say, and I say this to young coaches and coaches all the time, because I was guilty of it as a young coach, and that is when the X's and O's become where you focus on, and it becomes more than the people. then you're going to find yourself in a losing situation. Football is the game of football is not being in the football business. Football is the ultimate people business, and the people have got to come first. People have to know you're authentic. They have to know you listen to them, you care for them, and that goes to not only your competency, which allows you to let them believe you can help them master their craft, but it goes to your vulnerability. The vulnerability-based trust is what really allows you to lead them and give them this kind of advice that they will listen to. When the task is more important than the people, the the the, the people lose.
It's so funny to hear you say that. Marc Trestman is with us. The book is Teaching the Game, and we've linked it up on our Twitter account at Glenn Clark Radio, so you can find it. What you just described, I feel like someone is listening right now and saying, well, then explain Bill Belichick, right? Like, explain how someone so stoic and could have such great success, and didn't we learn that you're supposed to take like the personality out of it and just care about the rigid football of it all? And maybe the answer is we don't know as much about Bill Belichick as we think we do.
Yeah, I think the second half of that is probably true. I mean, Bill is from a different era. I always look at Tom Coughlin, who when you look at his career, and you can see that in the book that he wrote, he completely changed from being transactional to transformational. And I think that, I can't speak for Bill. I was never in the locker room with him. I found him, and I don't know him well, to be extremely personable, um, extremely respectful, um, and somebody you can go talk to and have a conversation with. So perception is, and I think we all should know this, that perception is not always what the reality is in the National Football League. Sometimes even the most inquisitive people outside the game don't really get to know what really goes on inside the locker room. So I can't speak for that.
Marc, you obviously, as I referenced, have been around this game for such a long time. And I'm not trying to call you old when I say that. I'm just, showing you your respect. We talk a lot about how the game has changed. And for so many people, that change is a perceived negative, right? Like that football isn't what it once was. I, on the flip side, have said, right, but, more people watch football than ever. I don't know that the change has all been negative. Where are you with how the game has changed and the good versus bad that it's been for the sport?
Yeah, I think the game is always evolving. I still think it's the greatest game on earth. I still think it's played by some of the most incredible athletes, elite athletes that, the fans should know some of the greatest people you could ever be around are involved in the game and playing the game. I found very few players in my very long career that were not only elite players, but elite people, and that I enjoyed and loved and loved coaching. So I think the quarterback position is as good as it's ever been. I think that the evolution of the game, because practices are orchestrated and such that, and the preseason now is shorter, that we may not even find out what these teams are all about to the middle or late September. But I still think it's the greatest game. And I think when you watch it, the fundamentals have stayed the same forever. There has to be ball security. There has to be block destruction. There has to be ball disruption. There has to be great tackling, and there has to be pursuit to the ball. Those are fundamentals that every team has to learn, and any fan can watch a game and say, does this team have a composite of these 5 or 6 fundamentals? And if they do, and they take care of the ball, the quarterback takes care of the ball, there's a good chance they'll be in the playoffs and have a chance to play for a championship. So I don't see the dissolution of the game. I think it's evolving, and I think the players are better than ever.
Coach, you obviously mentioned being out with the Chargers and Jim, and of course, Jesse was on that staff, and I know you were on other sides of the ball at that point, but what he brought, it changed that defense quickly, right? And of course, in Baltimore, we're hoping it can be almost like the Mike McDonaldian, immediate impact that Jesse Minter can make. Can you shed some light, as we're still getting to know him, on what we should know about the young head coach of the Ravens, and and maybe like what his special sauce is that's allowed him to rise to this point.
Well, I think number one is he's extremely competent and understands the game on the defensive side of the ball as well as anybody I've been around. I've been in team meetings with him enough to know that he is an elite communicator. He can do it in a filtered fashion. He doesn't go unfiltered. He's clean. He's disciplined in his presentation, and he knows how to reach the players. And he does it with transparency and consistency. He's extremely emotionally intelligent. You're not going to see a guy jumping up and down, and there'll be moments, but he's a guy who will be able to see the big picture, see it from not just the defensive side, but the offense and understanding the importance of special teams. So I think there'll be a growing process for Jesse, but I have no doubt in my mind that the Ravens have made a very, very good hire.
What you just said about the emotional intelligence really jumps out at me, Coach, because as we talk about how the game has changed, you referenced Tom Coughlin a minute ago. I think that like what we saw from Mike Macdonald, and it's such an obvious comparison because of the Michigan ties, the Ravens ties, but the people that I've talked to that were around both of them said they are very similar in that they know how to meet this new generation of football players where they are and coach them in a way. You just said, maybe every now and then you're going to see that from him, but that emotional intelligence, that ability to just coach them and be there with this generation of player. How much did you see that in Jesse, and how much do you feel like that's kind of necessary at this point in order to communicate with players in 2026 that might be different than 20, 15 years ago?
Well, we all know it's a great question. We all know that the world's changed dramatically. The locker room isn't locked anymore.
Yeah.
Anybody in a locker room can press send, and the whole world is going to find out in a split second. So there has to be that understanding. I think that you've hit it right. I mean, Mike Macdonald is the new brand of what a professional football coach should do, and most important, do and say. I mean, he has a great understanding what leadership is and how to lead the next generation. Sean McVay is that same guy. They're articulate enough and vulnerable enough to understand that their title means nothing. It doesn't give them license to lead. Those are and I think as from fan bases, they should really look to those guys, their words, how they say it, the conciseness and the vulnerability and transparency that they talk about it is where NFL coaches are going, and will be good role models for younger coaches, high school coaches, college coaches, and so forth. I think Jesse can be in that mode. I mean, he still hasn't been when you step into the shoes of a head coach, it's a different world.
Sure.
He's certainly well prepared. I think he deserves time. I think he'll grow as he now gets involved, not just with one side of the ball, with all three sides, the complementary football that every head coach wants to play in some fashion, whatever that philosophy is. But I think you're right. I think your early assessment is right. There are, and those of people who have been around him, I think that's correct.
You are a quarterback guy, right? We know that about you. We think about quarterbacks when we think about Marc Trestman. I wanted to ask you about two guys. One you were with, one you weren't. But the one that you were with, we still have a very romantic love affair with Joe Flacco in this town, Mark. Like until they might have to face him like on New Year's Eve, and he's a Bengal. But there's this love affair with Joe in Baltimore, and it's interesting because I've gotten to know Joe so well over the years, and I have friends around the game who say, you know what, I'm surprised that Joe's still doing this. I didn't know he cared this much about the game, and I understand that because Joe's personality is a little bit different. But the time that you spent around him, like, what did you get to know about him and how deeply he cares about the game? And are you surprised that here he is still grinding away as a backup quarterback this deep in his life when he could walk away and choose to live, obviously, a really good life?
Yeah, I think, there's a two-part answer. You hit both of them. Being with him, Joe was always prepared, always knew the game plan, never had to repeat a play to him. Was a great teammate, on time, doing all the things. But you would not know he loved the game as much, and this is the second part, that he loves the game of football as much as he does, because he was just a quiet presence,
Yeah.
around me, around the coaches. During practice, he did his job. He wasn't a guy to, be excessively emotional in any way, and I don't think we saw that. And standing behind him, watching him throw the football, like I say in my book, for a lot of it just leaves you breathless to watch the ball come out of his hand and spin out of his hand, because I don't think I ever saw the ball wobble during the time I was with him. So I guess I can't say I'm surprised. I can say that he always took very good care of himself, and he doesn't really look any different than he did in the last couple games that I saw him last year than he did in 2000 15 and 16, which is, it's incredible to say that it's been 12 years, but he looks the same.
It's joy. It's a joy to see him out there still doing it.
It really is. It really is.
It's just
it's aspirational for sure.
And then, Joe's a gem. Obviously, the guy that you didn't get to coach in Baltimore is clearly a gem. Lamar Jackson's a Hall of Famer, right? Like, he's going to go down as one of the greatest to ever play the game. One, after you saw him, did you say to yourself, gosh, man, if only that guy had been around a year earlier? But then two, what do you make of how he's so constantly judged, right? Like, obviously, he wants to win a championship. The Ravens want to win a championship. But what do you make of, the never-ending goalpost movement when it comes to Lamar Jackson, and the way that people have still found ways to criticize someone who, he's a two-time MVP. He's a Hall of Famer. He's one of the greats of all time.
Yeah, I don't get it. That's all I can say. I mean, as a coach, I don't get it. I mean, he's everything you'd want in a quarterback, and it's clear to me over time how much he loves football and loves to lead his team, loves to win. You said it. I just think that he's so unusually gifted that I think maybe, I can only speak. I'm just throwing caution to the wind here. That maybe when people look at him and watch him play, he just doesn't look like anybody who's ever played the game in the way that he can play it, and with such explosive movement, such a skill set. He's the flair for the dramatic. He's got it all, and he's done it all. And if there, I don't listen to all of it, but if there's this questioning of him, I would just call it ridiculous.
Absurd.
I don't think there's any coach, any NFL coach who wouldn't want to have the opportunity and really a privilege to be in the same meeting room with him.
The book is Teaching the Game. Coach, I'm sorry I didn't get it already so that I could have read it before we chatted with you, but I'm really looking forward to diving in to the book and finding out more. And as I said, we've linked it up on our Twitter account at Glenn Clark Radio so that folks can go and find it. Coach, is there anything else we can plug for you?
No, you guys done a great. Like I said, here's what it looks like. I'm really proud. Tony Dungy and Steve Young did the
not a bad duo,
forwards.
by the way. Just a couple of Hall of Famers.
Yeah, Tony and I went to college together. We've known each other for 50 years. We played against each other, obviously, in the NFL, and had a chance to coach Steve in San Francisco, and they did a nice job. And Ernie Accorsi, former GM, who was around Baltimore for a while, in his
Baltimore
young
guy,
age,
yeah.
And John Harbaugh, if you read some of the Instagram, gave a really tremendous endorsement, which meant a lot to me. And I think they'll just find it interesting. Read the introduction, read the acknowledgments, and then go through the table of contents. If a coach is preparing for the season, it's a good time it's a good check the box of things you have to cover. And for anybody who wants to, any coach, if you want to be a head coach, you've got to learn the game through the eyes of the quarterback. You got to understand how he's the most important guy in the building, and what it looks like, and how he gets ready to play a game. So I think there's something for everybody. But in 600, I could only do 632 pages. I had to cut it down 500, and it still doesn't even scratch the surface of what the game of football all about. But it'll give the fans an idea. And thank you for letting me talk about it today. It means a lot, guys.
Coach, we can't wait to dive in. Appreciate you taking the time for us. Would love to do it again soon. Thanks so much.
Great questions, and go Ravens. Huh?
I love
Take
that.
care.
Love that.
Take
Thank
care.
you, Coach. Coach Marc
Okay, guys.
Trestman.
Have a great week.
You as
Bye-bye.
well. Taking the time for us this morning. Appreciate him doing that. Still a lot to do on a Monday edition of the program. We're going to talk to Brad Brach about the Orioles. I want to talk more about the Trevor Rogers situation. We got to go 3 up and 3 down. That's all still to come as we continue along here on Glenn Clark Radio.
This is Stan the Fan. You know we talk all the time about our O's stepping up in the big moments, delivering when it matters most. If you've been injured in a car accident anywhere around Baltimore, that's your big moment, and you need someone who delivers. That's why I'm here to tell you about Warnken Injury Lawyers. They fight for Baltimore families every single day. Insurance companies play games. Warnken plays to win. So call 443-RESULTS. That's 443-RESULTS, or go to warnkenlaw.com. When you need results, it's right there in the number, 443-RESULTS.
Your car is more than just a ride. It's an investment. At Leading Edge Auto Body in Mount Washington, we've spent over 20 years perfecting the art of repair. From high-end imports to your trusted daily driver, we handle all makes and models with elite precision. Our team holds the highest honors in the industry, including ASE Master, iCar Platinum, and specialized aluminum certifications. We make it easy with free towing, pickup, and delivery, because at Leading Edge, customer satisfaction comes first. And remember, with insurance, it's your car and it's your choice. Choose the experts. Leading Edge Auto Body. Quality you can see. Service you can trust. Go to leadingedgeautobody.com today.
When you feel invisible, exhausted, stressed, or anxious, and you have days that just feel too hard to get through, you are not alone. If you or someone you love is struggling with mental health or problems with drugs or alcohol, help is right in your hands. Call or text 988 to get support whenever you need it. Help is here. Call or text 988. Brought to you by Maryland Department of Health.
The stars are shining brighter at Live Casino this summer. Celebrate America's 250th with $1 million. Earn entries daily July 1st through August 29th and snap a pic with our game board for a chance to win $100 in free play every week. We'll draw 50 free play winners each Saturday and $1 million winner on August 29th. Light it up at Live Casino. At Arundel Mills, must be 21. Please play responsibly. For help, visit mdgamblinghelp.org or call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Gambling can be a fun and entertaining experience, but there are risks involved. If you're planning on betting on the game at the casino or on your phone or computer, know your limit, stay within it. Set a budget and a time to stop. Remember, gambling isn't a financial solution, and it doesn't mix well with alcohol or drugs. Know the risks and have a plan before you begin gambling. For free and confidential services, call 1-800-GAMBLER 24/7 or go to helpmygamblingproblem.org.
The latest edition of PressBox is available now. On the cover, Dave LaMonaco profiles Orioles play-by-play voice Kevin Brown, looking at his rise as an amiable mainstay and one of the top voices in all of baseball. Also inside, Antonio Barbera looks at whether the championship window is narrowing for the Ravens veteran core, and our special travel section with a look at sports tourism options throughout Maryland for you and your family to enjoy this summer. PressBox is available for free at over 250 locations throughout the region, including your Baltimore area High's Dairy stores. Plus, you can read the entire issue online at PressBoxOnline.com, where you can also find great betting advice and the best daily coverage of the Orioles, Ravens, and Terps.
Contrary to what some people believe, I actually like this guy when he sleeps. Glenn Clark, talking sports.
All right, back in here on GCRs, continue along on a Monday edition of the program. John and Little Rock, you didn't really like. Oh, what's going on over here? I don't like that. I think we're all right. You didn't have your headphones on. Over there doing your own thing. John and Little Rock really watched that clip and said, that looks like a tie to me. No, I pulled the screenshot too, by the way. I went in and I just pulled the individual freeze frame. And, yeah. One of these people has their fingers on the base. The other one has their foot hovering above the base. It's not hard. It is close. No one's debating that. It's very close. I don't know if you can see that on the screen or not. I don't know why I'm bothering to hold it up. It's very close. But in the end, it's not debatable. It's not. It's just that when it's close, it's really close. God, gee, gosh, golly. Well, I guess we just revert back to what was called on the field instead of getting it right. Get it right. Get it right. Period. Get the call right. End of story. Get the call right. They didn't yesterday. And as I keep saying, is that why the Orioles lost? No, the Orioles lost because they can't score. That's the reason the Orioles lost. But get the calls right, too. Like, do both of these things. Not a sermon, just a thought.
You're asking for a lot.
I know. And the Orioles should score. I'm really asking for a lot because I want to get the calls right, and I want the Orioles to score runs. And that combination of things is just a burden too much to ask. It is. Anyway, moving on. The Orioles do lose 2 out of 3 to the Braves this weekend. However, they wake up today just 2.5 games out of a wild card spot with just 6 games remaining before the MLB trade deadline. Joining us now to talk about all of it, you know him from Birdland Territory as part of the Foul Territory Network. By the way, are we having all of Tim Barbalace's co-hosts on the show today? What is going on? We had Femi on. Now we're having. What the hell is happening?
Do we have to have Tim on too?
I don't know. No, Tim, we don't do that. He is former Orioles All-Star reliever, Mr. Brad Brach, and he's back with us now here on GCR. Brad, it's Glenn. It's always great to catch up, man. Thank you so much for taking the time for us.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me. Always great to come on here and talk some O's with you guys.
Man, what do you make of the Orioles offensive? Is it as simple as saying, hey, it looked like it was getting better, and then they lose both Rutschman and Basayo, so we should be more inclined to be dismissive of the offense over the last week? Like, how do we talk about this like adults? Because I know that it hurts to have, and I'm not trying to pile on these guys, but Chadwick Tromp and Sam Huff, who just aren't major league hitters, instead of 2 of your best bats in the lineup. But, they still had 8 other guys in there that just weren't producing this weekend. How do we talk about this like adults?
Yeah, yesterday on the podcast, we actually kind of talked about this at length. It's just not adding up. It's not making sense. Like the offense to me was going to be the one thing that you weren't going to have to worry about this season. And the starting staff and the bullpen is pitching unbelievable, yet they're still 14-13 in their last 27 games. And it's just, like I said, it's just not adding up to me. I can't quite figure it out. I can't quite put my finger on it. I mean, you're getting Pete Alonso producing at the rate that you expected him to get. And I don't know, is it as simple as just Gunnar just not having the type of year that we expected, and maybe Ward not having the type of power we expected? But it's just, I don't know. I just can't make sense of it. And it definitely doesn't help having Adley and Sammy out this past week. So it's not really making much sense right now. And I wish I could put my finger on it, but I can't at this moment.
Let me follow up on that specifically, because Brad, I'm struggling with, yes, the Orioles are only 2.5 games out. And yes, it's possible they could go on some sort of run. We saw them win 7 games in a row not that long ago, and I know they're capable of doing it. At the same time, we're also over 100 games into the season. It feels like we have a large sample size, and they're just not a good offensive team. Are they chasing a dragon if they choose to be aggressive at the deadline over the course of the next week? Are they trying to get after something that they just really can't get after because we know enough to know this team isn't good enough offensively to do it?
Yeah, it's like between a rock and a hard place, I feel like right now. It's like you said, by the standings, yes, they're in it. But like you said, we've seen kind of what the team is at this point. And it's just hard to say that, yes, this is a playoff team. Do I think their starting pitching is pitching at that level? Yes, I do. It's just the other aspects of the game just aren't there. And it's kind of, you're still below 500 at this point. And like I said, the AL is just kind of wacky this year. So yes, by the standings, looking at that, you're in it. But I don't know, just by the eye test and having to watching this team throughout the entire season, it just doesn't say to me playoff team and to really go for it. But I don't know, the standings with the way they are this year, who knows? Maybe it's just a wacky year and you kind of go for it now. But I feel like if anything they do, I feel like they should do looking towards 2027 because the talent on this roster to me it tells me it's a playoff team. It's just they're not performing, unfortunately, this year. So I just don't know. I don't know if you do anything to go all in this year. If anything, I do kind of 1 foot in this year, but really kind of a foot and a half towards next year kind of thing. I don't really know. It's definitely a weird spot.
It is a very weird spot. Can it be like? Are they one bat away? Like I say that to say, obviously the deadline could change some of this with the offense. Like, and I think right now most everyone would agree it would need to be an outfield bat because, like, as much as the frustration is related to Gunnar, you're not going to do anything other than just keep putting Gunnar out there every day and hoping that at some point he wakes up and he's Gunnar Henderson again. The outfielders, God bless them. This is not me trying to pile on. They all have had moments, whether it's Kowser, Taveras early on. You know, even O'Neill lately has been obviously a bit more productive than he had been, and Ward certainly gets on base. But if you can acquire one, like, legitimate, consistent outfield bat, can that be enough to change what we think of this team offensively?
I don't know. I'm still not sure about that. I think, like, at this point to me, when you look at the glaring weakness of the offense, it's with runners in scoring position. So it's kind of, okay, if you get another bat, is he going to be the one that sways this whole thing the other way? I don't know. There's struggles to me with 2 outs and with runners in scoring position has just been such a glaring weakness of the offense as a whole. And I just don't know if that's going to change. Like, I don't know if a philosophy all of a sudden comes out there, or maybe guys just get hot and it happens. But to me, it's kind of like, I feel like they did enough during that 7-game win streak to kind of show what the team could be, but then they go and they lose 2 series in a row. And it's just been, I feel like it's been very frustrating at that point all season, because it's like, okay, yes, this is the team we've expected. And then it kind of regresses back to, man, they've just been kind of doing this all year. And I just don't know if one bat is going to change all that. I just feel like they have the bats that can do it. They're just not doing it at this point. And I feel like if Gunnar Henderson, the real Gunnar Henderson that we know and have expected to come to see, shows up, that could be enough to sway the offense. But I just, like I said, it's confusing, you know, like I just don't know at this point.
I know others have said it, but like, there's nothing that could help the Orioles more at the deadline than acquiring Gunnar Henderson. Like, that is by far and away
so true. It's
the
so true.
The most helpful thing that could occur is if suddenly Gunnar Henderson was a Baltimore Oriole and not, unfortunately, the guy who's kind of been cosplaying as Gunnar Henderson this season.
Yeah, for sure. And it's just, like I said, I know he's got to just be so frustrated because I feel like he's been making better contact. He just hasn't had the results lately. And then he goes up to Boston, he has some extra base hits, and in his past series, he had a couple hits here and there, but it's just not adding up to the season we all expected of Gunnar. And I'm sure what he expected of himself.
Brad Brach is with us here on GCR. Brad, what do you make of what you've seen? Obviously, in a small sample size from Christian Encarnacion Strand, and when he was called up, a lot of people were like, "Hey, he's hit a bunch of home runs in Norfolk," and I said, "Yeah, okay." Yeah. But, like, we always knew that the exit velocity was legitimate. The raw power tool was real, even when he struggled in Cincinnati. Is this, hey, a lot of guys have a good, a week of baseball, don't overreact to it? Or do you see, like, raw skills that make you say, maybe there's a chance, like, the Orioles have found their next Ryan O'Hearn reclamation type of project?
Yeah, you honestly really never know. I never want to, like, make a bold statement or a blanket statement about guys, because I was one of them. I got a chance with the Orioles. I got some new eyes on me, and I kind of ran with the opportunity. So from what I've seen this last week, I think he's showing all the tools that he's had before. Maybe it's just going to a new organization. Sometimes that's all it kind of takes, is just kind of getting new eyes on you, getting what you feel like is a new life to your career. Maybe that's all it needs. I mean, I think there's going to be adjustments made, and I think we saw the Braves kind of pounding him in, and when they made mistakes, he still made them pay. But I just feel like adjustments will be made here that, maybe he made some adjustments when he got to Norfolk. And I think opposing pitchers will kind of try to go at those weaknesses that they're seeing. But he's hammering balls out over the plate. And I think that's something that was said about him. He's a collision bat, as they say. Like, when he runs into it, it's going to go a long way. And he's punishing mistakes right now. And I think balls out over the plate, he's handling really well. And I just think it's going to be whether he can get to the ball on the inside part of the plate more consistent if he can continue doing this. So I think it's an interesting bat to see, and I think it was a great find by the front office of the Orioles.
All right, I want to talk to you about a pitcher, and this one is maybe to me the most interesting and the toughest of them, because the Orioles are, as we pointed out, 2.5 games back. I don't think that it makes sense to be trading away someone who has been, frankly, your best pitcher now for 2 months. But Trevor Rogers tells the Baltimore Banner this weekend that he's looking at the offseason. He said the best way about it is me focusing on what I need to do and can pitch as well as I can, so my agent can do his job the best he can in free agency in the offseason. As soon as the season ends, whenever that might be, and the Orioles have an offer on the table, I'm going to be all ears. So what he's saying is, essentially, yeah, Brad has signed an extension, but I'm just not doing that. I'm going to free agency. You're a team that you and I are talking, and we are fearing you're just not good enough. Trevor Rogers has pitched like one of the best starters in baseball for the last 2 months, would probably be able to, land you a good bit at the deadline, but then you'd be losing Trevor Rogers, who's been your best pitcher. What do you do in this situation if he's not willing to sign right now?
Yeah, it's. I think it just goes back to what we were saying before, where it's just between a rock and a hard place. It's, like I said, the standings are dictating one thing, but I mean, him saying that, it kind of tells you that he's not willing to sign an extension now. And if you can get something back for him, and if it helps you moving forward, I just feel like you kind of got to pull the trigger. I get what you're saying with him being the best pitcher on their staff right now, or one of the best. And I mean, clearly he's one of the best pitchers in baseball right now. So you got to figure, when you're talking about the Dodgers, you're talking about, the Brewers, you're talking about some of these teams that have really good farm systems. If they're willing to give something up for him right now, I just feel like you got to do that. And if he really does want to be in Baltimore, you got to give a competitive offer, and hopefully he comes back next year. But I just don't know. I just think if they get a price that they are looking for him right now, to me, it just kind of seems it makes sense to move him. But like I said, it's a really tough decision, because when you do that, you put a glaring hole in the rotation that's been rolling here of late.
No question about it. What you just said, too, I think is the nuance of this conversation that people will miss, which is, and when I've talked about it, my argument is not trade Trevor Rogers for the sake of it or for whatever you can get. It's exactly the way you said it. If there is a haul to be had, if you're looking at this and saying there are major league ready pieces involved, or guys that drastically change this so that we can load up and go get more pitching this offseason. Like, I just think that you have to be listening and considering that, not just doing it for funsies or taking whatever someone is willing to offer because you got to move him. But I just don't think he can be off the table as you move towards next Monday.
Yeah, definitely. I don't think he can be off the table either. But I think the key phrase, like you said, there is major league talent or major league ready talent. To me, that is what I would need to move him if I were the Orioles, because this team is right there. Like I don't know. Like when you watch the team on an in and out night in and out basis, it's just this team can win, and it's just, I don't know if it's one piece, I don't know if it's two pieces, but the pieces are there. I think if you ask any of the 30 teams in baseball, they would take this lineup, this pitching staff, the guys coming back from injury next year, they would take this going into the end of the season and then into 2027. So for me, it's, if you get major league ready talent for him, to me, it seems to make sense right now to make that move.
How concerned should we be that Rico Garcia gave up a couple of home runs this weekend? Is that, a prolonged trend that concerns you, or has he been too good this year for us to be worked up about that?
Yeah, I think it's just the life of a reliever. You're going to go through stretches where, you're going to get clipped every once in a while, especially with the way baseball is and how hard guys throw and how hard guys swing. You're going to give up home runs now and then. I wouldn't be too concerned. I'm still seeing this stuff is playing, and it just, sometimes you have a bad series, and it kind of just, you have to take it that way. And hopefully he's able just to move past this and kind of look at his body of work for the season and know that he is a good pitcher, and that, he should be pitching the 7th, 8th inning and winning games, and not get discouraged, because it's very easy. And someone who doesn't have a long track record of having success, you can kind of get down. So I wouldn't be too concerned with it. If it goes on for another week or 2 weeks, maybe you get concerned, but he's been too good this season for me to kind of worry about.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you. It's also maybe he score a few more runs, then we're not thinking about this quite as much.
Yeah. I mean, quite frankly, that's it. That's definitely when you look at the numbers. Steve yesterday on the podcast was bringing up stats from the Angels series until now, so it's about 9 series, and it's the pitchers are at like a 3.19 ERA, and the offense is at like a 4.2 runs a game, and it's just like, God, it's unfathomable to me that this offense is only scoring at a 4.2 run rate over that stretch of time. It's just too good of a lineup, too much talent. I don't know. It's just not making sense.
Are we? This is not. By the way, we can completely buy in on Brandon Young at this point, right? Like this is no longer. This is a known commodity.
To me, I think he's found himself. He's found himself in the big leagues, and that's kind of what you want to see from pitchers. It's you have prospects that come up and just kind of doesn't really work out. I mean, no shade to Grayson or Rodriguez, but to me that was kind of he comes up, he has all this fanfare, he goes out, he's great. He's just not able to stay healthy. Can't really find his footing here in Baltimore. And sometimes guys come up to the big leagues and they find their footing. And I really think that's what Brandon Young has done. He's been unbelievable. He's found his confidence with his fastball, and this new splitter he's throwing to me is a career difference maker. And he's starting to mix in a better slider, and everything just seems to be trending up. And he's getting better with each start, and that's what you want to see from guys when they get called up.
He is Brad Brach. We want to remind everybody about what they're getting at Birdland Territory, sir.
Yeah, I was actually going to give a shameless plug. We just had a really, really good episode with Chris Davis. If you're an Orioles fan, go check out Birdland Territory on YouTube or anywhere you can get your podcast. It was a very, very candid firsthand experience with Chris Davis. He was open and honest about his struggles at the end. He was just gushing about his love for Birdland, and it's a really, really good episode to check out, especially with this weekend coming up with him going into the Orioles Hall of Fame.
That's awesome. Cool to have the two of you back together. That's really neat. And yeah, we are very excited about this weekend. And, the last couple of years we've been doing this, just celebrating those teams and what you guys were able to accomplish and sort of bringing life back to Baltimore baseball, which we will never forget. Brad Brach, always appreciate you, brother. Thanks for spending time with us. Let's do it again real soon, all right?
Yeah, sounds good. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, buddy. Brad Brach with us here on GCR. Appreciate him doing that. Today's show also brought to you by the Stan the Fan Variety Hour. I believe, if I remember correctly, Stan is taking this week off in order to heal up with the new hip. But typically every Monday, he, Ross Grimsley, Luke Jackson, talking baseball. All brought to you by Warnken Law, as well as the Costas Inn with two great locations, the OG in Dundalk, the new one in Timonium. I bring up the Trevor Rogers thing because those comments to Andy Koska of the Baltimore Banner really strike me. That every time I've attempted to bring up this conversation and someone said back like, no, you shouldn't be trading Trevor Rogers, you should be signing Trevor Rogers. What I've always tried to say is, yes, I agree, but he's not signed. And if he's not signed, then now what? My preference would be that the Orioles today call a 3 p.m. press conference, although that wouldn't work. They're in Detroit, but you get it. The Orioles announce an extension today at 3 o'clock, and we don't think about this ever again. That would be my preference by far. But as I said, the pitcher that was 2 years further away from free agency got a deal done. I don't think that's because they didn't want to talk to Trevor Rogers or they just had no interest in it. To the point, in this story from Andy Koska, the Baltimore Banner, essentially, he says Trevor Rogers isn't going to do that during the season. The quote that he shared, that I just shared with you as you were listening with Brad Brach, as soon as the season ends, whenever that may be, and the Orioles have an offer on the table, I'm going to be all ears. They're going to be number one on my list. Whether they've heard it or not heard it, they know how much I like it here. Definitely will be eyes and ears open if they come to the table for sure. As soon as the season ends. Which suggests he ain't doing it now. And there's more in this story from Andy Koska about Trevor Rogers that would suggest that he's not doing it now, period. That's not it's just a determined, I'm not doing this. Speaks about maybe his experiences thinking about the contract when he was with the Marlins and why he's not doing it now. Quote, it's tough during the year. I don't really like to have that type of conversation during the season because I want to be strictly focused on baseball, and they, deadline coming up, they're focused on other things. So I really just try to keep it there, and if there's an opportunity to have it at some point, I'm all ears, but I'm really just focused on the job at hand. Now, someone would say, well, how do you make heads and tails of the fact that he says he loves Baltimore and wants to be in Baltimore, but isn't willing to do it? I believe that he loves Baltimore. But for the majority of players, when you're this close to free agency, you love free agency. It is asinine to negotiate with one team instead of negotiating with all of the teams. Or let's be fair, not all of the teams, but more than one. It makes no sense. Now, if the Orioles have offered him above and beyond what the market would suggest, and he said, no, get back to me in the offseason, then that might be more of an indictment on Trevor Rogers. But if the general consensus is, guys, I love you, I'm just not talking to you right now, we're doing this in free agency because that's the way this works, that makes sense. That's typically how this works. And if that's the case, then what do you do? Our friend Zach Moore thinks you should hold on to him just to try to keep the good vibes up. And it's in part because he can still help you try to win right now, but he could also maybe keep the vibes going. And if he goes somewhere else, maybe he doesn't love Baltimore quite as much at the end of the year. And I love Zach. But Zach knows as well as I do, vibes ain't going to determine whether he's going to sign here. It ain't going to be about the vibes. It's going to be who offers the best contract. And I always say best instead of most because that, it gets really wonky with like states that have, we saw this with Corbin Burns. They don't have tax in Arizona. So if you live in Arizona, then your money goes a little bit further than it goes. Like it's always, and what do you care more about? The longer term contract, the more average annual value? No one knows. So I always say best, not most or biggest, because it's the one that the player is and his representation is most desirous of getting. That's what it is. That's where Trevor Rogers is going to sign. So your options now are hold on to Trevor Rogers to try to chase. I think you're chasing the dragon. But, I absolutely can be wrong about that. The Orioles could be the team that gets hot, adds a bat, Gunnar comes back to life. It could happen. And if it does, then you'd rather have Trevor Rogers than not have him. But what's the likelihood of that versus potentially what you could get for what would be one of the most desirable arms that would be dealt at the deadline? And as I said before, it's also possible you could do yourself a little roster maxing. Trade Trevor Rogers, but also look to acquire pitching. You're allowed to do both. That's what the Tampa Bay Rays do all the time. Trade away Shane Baz just to be the best team in the American League. I hate roster maxing as a term, but that's what
I don't know. It seems like you're trying
come
to
up with it.
You're
Come
trying
up
to
with a
get the
different
cash
term.
on.
Come up with a different one. Come up with something else to explain what this is.
Roster efficiency.
It doesn't have the same je ne sais quoi. That's the reality. And what Brad Brach said, I think, is correct, which is not just trade him for the funsies of trading him for whatever's on the table. Measure it all. What are you getting? What might he do? What might you do with him? Are there other trades you can make? Do you know that there's another team that's willing to trade controllable pitching, that if you bring in the pieces that you would get from trading Trevor Rogers, you could swap this thing out, maximize 2027, come out on top? And then maybe go sign Trevor Rogers in the offseason.
That's too much.
I know. I'm talking crazy.
Purposely trade him to a bad team.
Yeah, I don't know if that's going to work out. But
a team that
was a good team, but he would hate it there.
Right, yeah.
Where would that be?
That would be
Detroit. Who would want to be in Detroit?
Yeah, exactly. Maybe, yeah.
Who would ever want to be in Detroit? Ever. Go there.
Seattle, maybe. Actually,
what to eat M&M's spaghetti?
Good conditions.
Overpriced spaghetti, huh? That's what you're going to do?
Minnesota.
No, who would want to be in Minnesota? Eating Juicy Lucy's. Actually, that sounds great. Should do a Juicy Lucy sometime.
Send him to Houston. Maybe the Crawford boxes will destroy him or something.
That's a good point. Then you'll drive his value down on top of it.
Exactly.
And then you go sign him again in the offseason.
Yeah.
Might be onto something. There's my Trevor Rogers.
Tear him down.
It's not simplistic. It's not just trade Trevor Rogers. It's if he's not. Yes, try to sign Trevor Rogers. If he's not willing to, and based on what he told the Baltimore Banner, he's not willing to, then let's see. That's where I'm at. You want to do the thing? Oh, we need to meet our intern. Ryan Nickerson, pride of Dundalk. Sparrows Point, you say?
Yes.
Sparrows Point. And currently at UMBC?
Yes.
Currently at UMBC, the reigning America East basketball champions.
Congratulations.
Reigning, defending America East basketball champions. Yes. Got to replace some of the roster. But still, yeah, most of the roster. But they've done that before. The vibes were good. Were you there for the title game?
Yes. I was actually in the sports broadcast class, so I caught most of the home games.
Oh,
I got to sit in and watch, so it was really special seeing that team and kind of going in and seeing the roster. Probably, I think it's the best year we've had since the Virginia year.
Well, the argument, too, so this is awkward, right? The Virginia year, they had to go on the road in order to win.
Yeah.
There's something about, because we don't have like a major college basketball team in Baltimore, you only get so many of these types of days where like the atmosphere is just bat-ass, is just purely bonkers, completely nuts. And Drew Forrester, our friend, talks about all the time, God, what year, 06 when they won the title? Now that was at the old rack, obviously. But like the way that place was just filled to the brims. And to me, that's what this is about. Like, nothing will ever compare to them beating Virginia because, you know, they beat Virginia. But, like, this, doing it at home with that energy and that crowd and a full building and the city and people that aren't necessarily even, like, connected to UMBC getting involved, I just think that's one of the coolest things you get to experience in our town, man. It's very neat. And the fact that you got to experience that is really cool. What do you want to do with your life?
Become a sports writer, become a sports journalist. You know,
I've kind of. You've heard it's not a great time for our industry. I'm not sure if anyone's mentioned that.
He's going to revive it.
You're going to single-handedly save the sports writing moving forward.
Hey, isn't the goal just to stay in the job? You know, hopefully.
Boy, really setting the bar high, Ryan.
Not
really. I say single-handedly save the industry. He's like, how about just work? How about just, like, have a job?
How about not getting fired by ESPN to help Pat McAfee's contract? You know,
going in on McAfee, huh? He will fit in on here, maybe. Going in on McAfee. Griffin's a McAfee guy. He loves McAfee. He actually is watching the show every day while we're doing the show. And I'm like, I don't know. He's not hearing the problems in the head. It's because he's actually watching McAfee and has no idea what's happening on this.
I want to know what he thinks about golf. Yeah, I mean,
that's what you're tuning in for. That's what you're looking for. Unlike the other intern we had this semester, you're not a charlatan. You root for the correct teams.
Yes, I am Ravens, Orioles, and then I stray a little bit for NBA. I'm a Sixers fan.
We don't have a team.
But yeah, we don't have a team.
I mean, you can root for whoever you want.
We have the Wizards.
No, we do not have the Wizards.
Totally
Washington has the Wizards. We have nothing. Once upon a time, we had the Bullets. Then they moved. And That's the way it goes. Griffin masquerades as a Wizards fan.
I mean,
so the
I am a
question
Wizards
now
fan,
is,
yeah. Are you worried?
Who's more jacked up, right? Like
Yeah.
you about LeBron or Griffin about Trae Young?
AJ
Trae
DeBanza.
Young and
AJ
AD
DeBanza.
and Day-to-Day Davis.
All the other young guys we got.
We were not on Friday, so I haven't really talked about it. Although they wanted me to bring it up on WBAL on Friday because it was such a major news story.
LeBron James.
Yeah. I do think that Sixers fans are setting themselves up for heartbreak. Like that they are convincing themselves they're really getting LeBron James. And
Who are
while
they getting then?
LeBron James at 41 is better than any basketball player we've seen at 41, it's not LeBron James. I still think he's a helpful piece. And
when you consider that there's Jaylen Brown, Maxey,
that's what this
Edgecombe,
what this really comes down to is
Joel
those,
Embiid for 48% of the.
How much do you get a Joel Embiid? How does Jaylen Brown fit in with Maxey and Edgecombe to be the actual nucleus of the team?
Oh, yeah. It's that big three. It's Maxey, Edgecombe, and Brown that you're kind of – Embiid and LeBron are the names, of course. That's going to be – everyone's going to buy the jerseys. Everyone's going to talk about them. But if you're talking about pure performance and where this team will go, it's going to be on the back of Maxey, Edgecombe, and Brown. So – honestly, Brown is terrific. I kind of feel bad because this gets overshadowed immediately by the LeBron deal. But the fact that we dumped Paul George for Jaylen Brown,
it's a huge upgrade.
Wow,
no
that's
doubt.
such a fleece.
It's a huge upgrade. No question about it.
No hate to Paul George, but
I think that Sixers fans are now. I thought that same way about Knicks fans, as it turns out. Now I still stand by if the Thunder had beaten the Spurs in Game 7. I think the Thunder are winning the finals. But I thought the Knicks fans were setting themselves up for the ultimate heartbreak. As turns out, I was wrong.
Well,
so
that's the beautiful thing of being a Baltimore Sixers fan. You're kind of used to the expectations not panning out. So once you start realizing the cycle, it kind of prepares you. So you just allow enough optimism to not get super disappointed when it all goes
okay.
down.
Do you openly expect it to go wrong? Do you openly say, I assume this is going to go wrong?
No, but a little part of me is
Maybe
scared.
You should. Maybe
part of me is scared. First game, LeBron tears his ACL, it's over, and because it just seems like that would happen to us. That sounds like
the Jets acquiring Aaron Rodgers, right? We got Aaron Rodgers. Womp womp. We'll see. Look, I didn't really have much of a take.
I thought he wanted to go somewhere where he could golf. Does Philly known for its golf courses?
Apparently, he wants to move to New York. Which is
that's right, yeah, and he wants a helicopter to practice.
Yeah, which is weird. That's a weird bit too. Why New York?
Or he just wants to ride with
and
Adam Sandler from Uncut Gems to practice each
business
day.
thing. Yeah.
I think he wants the title. I think he wants one. I think Philly probably give him the best shot.
So of the options,
yes.
I don't disagree. I'm in a weird spot with this, right? Because all the dunking on LeBron about so you're just Kevin Durant now, you're just going to be a mercenary somewhere at the end of your career. I don't know what to say about it. The argument that's going to be made is that people are going to detract if they do win a title, that LeBron won't get credit for it because he was just sort of a hanger on. I don't know, man. I have no idea. We don't give LeBron credit for the last title because it wasn't real. I mean, it was a Mickey Mouse thing.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't. I don't know what to make.
I give him credit. I mean, he won an NBA Finals.
Yeah, he won the NBA Finals that happened that year. That's what he did. It's the eternal this thing that exists where brainless people just want there to be this internal comparison between LeBron James and Michael Jordan. No one will ever be satisfied. There will never be if you're someone who believes that LeBron James is a greater basketball player than Michael Jordan, LeBron could go win 4 more titles with the Sixers, and you're never going to win that argument.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen. It is an argument you're having in your brain because there's no real correct answer, really, but there's nothing LeBron can do that can match the accomplishment of Michael Jordan winning 6 titles in 6 tries with one team.
It's actually hilarious because my mom's a Tar Heels fan. So I grew up with UNC and some Terps from my dad. But growing up as a UNC fan, Jordan is Jordan was kind of considered the go to my household. And now I kind of have LeBron on my team and I'm like,
well, you're a younger man. It makes sense that you love LeBron.
I think I like MJ
by the
more.
way, LeBron James is an iconic, great basketball player, and this is an argument that only exists in the brains of people that are perpetually online. But you can't overcome, no one can overcome that Michael Jordan did something that is impossible to do. He played the only 6 full seasons he played consecutively. He won a title in all 6. That's batshit. There is no matching that. That's the part that you can't come back to. You just can't shake it and say, yeah, but like, as a pure basketball player, LeBron James is great, brother. Continue to have that argument in your mind. In your mind, in this hypothetical, yeah, but if they played each other one-on-one, you have no earthly effing idea. You are just saying stuff because that's the culture that we've created, where if you say anything, it's true. I get it. He's more physically imposing. I understand. He's a basketball specimen unlike anything that we've seen. Still, he can't do that. I mean, I guess technically he could. He could win the next 6 with the Sixers.
Hoopshype.com has LeBron as the best player of all time.
Great.
So
Well,
go
there
ahead.
you go.
So you're proven
Done.
wrong.
Done.
Well,
Dunsky.
not to mention, when you think about it, Jordan built something in Chicago. Like, he built it. When you think about LeBron, he kind of left Cleveland high and dry and just came back later when they had more. So when you look at it, Jordan actually built something in Chicago.
Yeah,
he built a champion. LeBron kind of just ditched Cleveland and waited for the conditions to get
the
better.
thing is, I don't really care. Like, to me, that none of that has anything to do with what the greatness of LeBron James. Nothing will ever match the accomplishment of what Michael Jordan did. Nothing. Yeah. Is it possible that LeBron James is a better basketball player? I don't know. I have no idea. Maybe. But it's, again, only something that exists in your perpetually online brain. That's it. That's the only place this actually exists. Otherwise, it is utterly and completely irrelevant. Utterly. And nothing that happens here will change anything about the way that people feel about this topic. If LeBron James, is so desirous of padding his career championship number that this is his best chance of doing it, then God bless. That's his choice. God bless him. Or if even it's more of a vacuum than that. It's just, I just kind of want to win a title right now. God bless him. God bless him. All right, we got to wrap up, man. We're spending too much time on this. I didn't even bring up Chris Moore. We haven't done 3 up and 3 down.
Chris Moore.
The Ravens signed, with Femi.
Yeah.
The Ravens signed Chris Moore. You guys know, I love Chris Moore. He is a one-of-one human being. I love Chris Moore. Proved to be, after leaving Baltimore, more of a receiver than I think we realized he was capable of being. Not that that's why you're bringing him here. You're bringing him here in hopes that he can be an ace special teamer. And if you have to turn to him as a receiver, you believe, even he was still somewhat helpful when other guys got hurt in Washington.
He had a really good year in Houston. Was that 2 years ago?
Yeah. And, was it 2? I thought it was a little bit longer than that. I got no beef with Chris Moore. You also don't have to guarantee Chris Moore a roster spot, although I think his special teams ability is part of the reason why you bring him here, and that's why I'm inclined to have him on the roster. But, you're not guaranteeing him anything. It definitely seems like their way of saying, and Jeff Zrebiak kind of reports, they are not in on the top end of the receiver group. So there's that. I disagree with that thought process. I think that is a mistake for a team that's trying to win a Super Bowl to be too bullish. I hope I'm wrong. I hope they're appropriately bullish about their young receivers. But I, Glenn Clark, would have done something else. They might prove to be right. I might look like an asshole. It'll be the first time ever. I've never been wrong before. But that's what I would have done. They're doing something different. Obla-dee, obla-da.
It was 2022 with Houston, so yeah, I was off by
That's what I thought.
A little bit.
Yeah,
But
a couple more years than that. But that's okay.
had a good year with Tennessee after that as well.
And I'm telling you, when other guys got hurt in Washington last year, he was helpful. His numbers on the whole were not overwhelming, but when he was pressed into duty, he proved to be helpful. So that's he's here to be a special teamer, I would think, because he's really good at that. And then if you have to turn to him, he's a better option than someone else who's a special teamer that can't help you in that department. Hit the thing so we can do this.
Three up.
And 3 down.
All right, here we go. Orioles go 2-4 for the week. Oh, Ryan, you're playing along with us? Is that the plan?
Yep.
All right, very good. Orioles go 2-4 for the week. Let's take a look at 3 up and 3 down. I guess that means we begin with the up because that was the lesser of the two this week. My number 3 is the aforementioned Trevor Rogers. And legitimately, when I sat down to do this last night, I said, now I can't even remember which wasted start was Trevor Rogers this week. Of all of the wasted starts, which one was Trevor Rogers? It turns out it was Friday night when they pulled him at 88 pitches and everybody got their panties in a bunch. He said afterwards, he had kind of emptied the tank in the 7th inning, so he was suggesting he couldn't have gone back out there. Then somebody tweeted at Jim Palmer, and it was just a whole ordeal.
And Jim Palmer was like, I would have pitched in the at 80 years old, I would have pitched in the 8th inning.
And he would have thrown the game 2 of the doubleheader.
Yeah.
It's just a different world. But yeah, Trevor Rogers, number 3. He was great on Friday night. Oh, we want Ryan to go next.
Yeah, go
Ryan.
I'll go pitcher 2. I'll go Shane Baz. So
it just wasn't great yesterday.
2 runs in 10.
I hear you.
Defense didn't help him in Boston.
It's funny. Yeah. I think I looked at that not too long ago. He has like the most runs compared to earned runs. Like this defense constantly lets him down. It happened in the Boston game, the first game back. So I feel like you gotta shout out pitcher because my other 2.
I agree with you. He put 8. Yeah. He put 8 guys on base over 4 1/3 yesterday. He could not make my list for that. Not a chance.
Yeah, he didn't make my list either. He also contributed to those errors as well. So like that was part of it. Trevor Rogers. I had to leave one of those 3 great starts off. I ended up leaving Brandon Young off my list.
Oh my God.
I mean, I don't know how you could leave Bradish off.
I hear you.
Rogers is my number 3.
Because to me, Bradish wasn't the story of that game. The story of that game was they scored 4 runs in the first.
I mean, I think it's this, but yeah, maybe. But it's also that he's the stopper. Like this was a have-to-have-it
Rogers
game
has
on
really
Wednesday
been
night.
In that context, sure, but he didn't really prove to be anything more than that because they turned around and kept losing. He's the guy that's off my list.
I mean, yeah, but then they could have. I mean, they could have.
Number 2,
4 or 5 game losing streak.
Number 2, Christian Encarnacion Strand. He OPS'd over 1,300. What do you want to say? Christian Encarnacion Strand, number 2.
I'll go for my number 2. I actually had Dylan Beavers. I decided to give it to him.
Man, he was a 2-time man of the match last week.
He's got 3 RBIs, and the 2 came in the win against Boston, and the other one was the walk-off against Atlanta. He's actually steadily rising. He was at like 220-something. Now he's at 248, I believe, so he's hovering towards 250. I think
batting average matters.
Ward's going to go soon, so it seems like he might be the best batter in the outfield, which sounds insane to say, but that's kind of where we're at.
What a depressing sentence.
Oh, he looked really good at the end of last year. If he's coming back, if his eye is coming
I hope
back.
Dylan Beavers is.
Anyway, Bradish is number 2 because I mean this was a team. He was facing a team that had won 15 in a row, and he found a way to completely silence the hottest team in baseball.
To me, the story of the game.
In a game you had to win. You had to win one of those games in Boston.
Brandon Young is number 1. And by the way, at this point, might be overtaking the race for most valuable Oriole. He might legitimately be number 1 on that list at this point. Like, it's insane. Well, I don't know. 3 up and 3 down is not a good way to value most valuable Oriole.
He would be my MVO right now, and if you give him another 3 points, he'd still be behind Basayo, Rushman, and Alexander on your list.
Right, well, I don't know, man. It's really getting into that territory of Brandon Young.
He would be number 1 for mine, though.
Number 1. Ryan?
For my number 1, I'll actually take Encarnacion Strand, of course. 3 he's led the teams in hits, homers, and RBIs. He's got 9 hits, 3 homers, 9 RBIs since we came back. I think we were all pretty depressed when Blaze got injured. Like, what are we going to do? And he just comes up and fits better. He fits like a glove. He kind of fits in seamlessly, and he performed at a high level. So to me, he's definitely the one.
I hope it continues.
He's my number 1 as well. I mean, this was maybe the best week of any Oriole the entire season. Like, he drove in 9 runs. I mean, he kept them alive in these games when that they should have won and kept finding ways to lose. But when he was the sole proprietor of offense at times, it felt like. So yeah, Encarnacion Strand is my number 1. So a little bit out of nowhere.
To the down list, this one, this is maybe the worst down list of the year. Number 3 is Leody Taveras, who went 1 for 17 for the week. 1 for 17. It might have been Paul Valley from the Bat Around who said, "Is this the worst outfield in baseball?" And he might very well be right about that. Taveras, number 3.
I, too, have Leody Taveras as my number 3 down. Again,
job,
1 for
Ryan.
17. It actually sucks because the past few years, Elias has been making bread and butter with these one-year free agent signings. It was Laureano last season before we traded him. Aaron Hicks, we had Aaron Hicks for a little bit, so it seemed like he could always get some, outcast free agent, plug him in, and the guy would perform. And it looked like Taveras was going to be that guy, but 1 for 17. He's really we talked about how outfielders were streaky. He's really down as of late.
Taveras, I guess, I don't know. You make good arguments for him moving less. He's not on my list. Dean Kramer's my number 3. He was not good in the doubleheader on game
right
1 of the
about
doubleheader. He labored through 6 innings. So I guess that's the positive. He gave you 6 innings, but he gave up 6 runs, and they were never in it. So
I don't want to pile on these guys, but to me, unfortunately, it was just such the story of the week that I had to make the catchers number 2 and number 1. I had no choice. Sam Huff is 2. Trump is number 1. It was just the biggest story of the week. Not that there weren't others, but the biggest story of the week was you got 1 total hit from your 2 catchers combined. Huff 2, Trump 1.
For my 2, I went Dean Kramer. Same as what Griffin said, 6 runs, 6 innings. So pretty much,
4 in the first. Yeah. Like
it was an ass kicking.
The worst pitching performance of the rotation so far. Kind of just had to give it to him there.
Rico Garcia was my number 2. He's still, as we mentioned, he's pitching still kind of efficiently, except where he just has to give up 1 home run each inning, and that's what he did over the weekend against Atlanta. Blew 2 saves. So he wasn't in the 9th inning, but they still go in as blown saves. Not good.
How does that work?
Well, because because if he had gotten through it, he would have gotten a hold, and then if he does what he did, it counts as a blown save.
That's a bad stat.
The stats are what they are, and that's what they. So 2 blown saves. And then my number 1, Chadwick Tromp, just because he had more at bats. So and his ABS challenges were bad over the weekend too. Terrible.
Well, not
terrible.
On Friday night, they were very good, and then
the rest of the weekend, then he got all cocky and.
Yeah, my 1 went to Chadwick Tromp as well. Just more at bats. Also, the fact that it's more of what it represents, because Creed Willems was just on the program not that long ago, and he's an option. And he even mentioned, "Hey, I'll play anywhere." So I don't know what the options are looking at with him, but I'd certainly, after
2 hits yesterday in Norfolk.
After this, I think we'd all collectively take Creed Willems.
I've heard a lot about that. Let's not pretend like a guy that's OPSing 770 in AAA is.
Okay, so you want to continue to see Sam Huff bat in the 9th inning or the 11th, whatever it is.
I understand what you're saying, but making it seem like it's obvious that it should be Willems.
These guys are nothing though.
Other than that they believe they can actually catch in a major league game, and I have no idea where the Orioles are with whether Creed Willems can do it or not. What you're saying, there's 2 different arguments here. The argument of there's no way it can be worse is an easy argument to make. It's just not actually true. It could be worse. I'm not saying it would be, and it's not. To me, the evidence isn't so overwhelming that you have to have it be Creed Willems, that this is an embarrassment. It's the unfortunate part of the situation that you're in. We got to get a tidbit. We got to get tubular. We'll do it next. Glenn Clark Radio.
The stars are shining brighter at Live Casino this summer. Celebrate America's 250th with $1 million. Earn entries daily July 1st through August 29th and snap a pic with our game board for a chance to win $100 in free play every week. We'll draw 50 free play winners each Saturday and $1 million winner on August 29th. Light it up at Live Casino. At Arundel Mills, must be 21. Please play responsibly. For help, visit mdgamblinghelp.org or call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Your car is more than just a ride. It's an investment. At Leading Edge Auto Body in Mount Washington, we've spent over 20 years perfecting the art of repair. From high-end imports to your trusted daily driver, we handle all makes and models with elite precision. Our team holds the highest honors in the industry, including ASE Master, ICAR Platinum, and specialized aluminum certifications. We make it easy with free towing, pickup, and delivery because at Leading Edge, customer satisfaction comes first. And remember, with insurance, it's your car and it's your choice. Choose the experts. Leading Edge Auto Body. Quality you can see. Service you can trust. Go to leadingedgeautobody.com today.
Gambling can be a fun and entertaining experience, but there are risks involved. If you're planning on betting on the game at the casino or on your phone or computer, know your limit, stay within it. Set a budget and a time to stop. Remember, gambling isn't a financial solution, and it doesn't mix well with alcohol or drugs. Know the risks and have a plan before you begin gambling. For free and confidential services, call 1-800-GAMBLER 24/7 or go to helpmygamblingproblem.org.
This is Byron Warnken. If you've been injured in a car or truck crash, you probably know this is stressful. Medical bills, the insurance company giving you the runaround, you got to get your car fixed. You don't just need a lawyer, you need results. At Warnken LLC, we represent the injured across Maryland. Whether it's a car or truck crash case, medical malpractice, or any other serious personal injury, we fight for maximum compensation for you and maximum ease for you. You don't want to have to deal with this stuff. Warnken LLC has been voted best personal injury law firm in Maryland for a reason. For us, 443 Results isn't just a phone number, it's our mission. Get the advocate that you need. Call us today, 443 Results, or visit us online, warnkenlaw.com. That's WARNKENLAW.com.
Make the most out of every day in your Toyota RAV4. Available in hybrid or gas-only models. A RAV4 can get you where you want to go in style. Check out buyatoyota.com for deals on new RAV4s from your local Toyota dealer today.
When you feel invisible, exhausted, stressed, or anxious, when you have days that just feel too hard to get through, you are not alone. If you or someone you love is struggling with mental health or problems with drugs or alcohol, help is right in your hands. Call or text 988 to get support whenever you need it. Help is here. Call or text 988. Brought to you by Maryland Department of Health.
Coming back in here with Glenn and the other guy, Garrett, whatever his name is. You know who they are.
All right, back in here on GCR as we wind down. Great to meet Ryan Nickerson. He's been working hard this semester, having to listen to our stupid voices too much. Appreciate him hanging out and all the hard work he's put in. Young man from UMBC. Let's get a tidbit. Tidbit is brought to you by County Sports Zone. Everything you know about high school sports all summer long. They'll have it for you. CountySports.zone, proudly sponsored by your local Toyota dealer and buyatoyota.com.
All right, I got a long one, but I'll save it for tomorrow.
That's probably smart.
We're trying to get out of here. Salvador Perez homered yesterday.
He's now the Royals' all-time home run leader, correct?
He is. He surpassed George Brett. Did you see what happened on the game time or the franchise-tying home run?
I did not.
He hit it into one of the fountains. Guy wearing a Salvador Perez jersey dives into the fountain, and then got arrested.
No.
Yes.
Oh.
And then Salvador Perez was told about it after the game, and he was like, police, let him go, please.
Oh, that's nice of Salvi. Very nice of him.
He is the 5th active player, so there are 5 players that currently hold their franchise record for home runs. Salvador
Now, wait. Now,
Perez
hang on a
is one of
second.
them.
Does that count Pete Alonso, who's the Mets' all-time home run leader? Because the
Pete
way
Alonso
you
is
said
one
it,
of
that
them.
would not, you said hold their franchise.
Okay, so there are
home
5 active players that
who hold
a
franchise.
current franchise record.
Yes, correct.
All right, so you have 2. Perez and Alonso. Alonso with the Mets.
All right. So, does Goldschmidt have the Diamondbacks record?
He does not. Who has the Diamondbacks record?
Okay. How about? Oh, this is good, actually.
Luis Gonzalez has the record.
Okay. All right.
Gonzalez at 224. Goldschmidt was at 209 before he left.
Does Trout have the Angels record?
Trout does, in fact, have the Angels record. Salvi, Trout, Alonso.
Man. It's tough because, like, you think of guys, you're like, there's no way that this guy has more home runs. Although, to be fair, I would have never guessed that Pete Alonso was the Mets' all-time home run leader, so that's kind of a... Like, I can't imagine that Vlad has already hit more home runs than, like, Joe Carter. Vlad.
No.
Yeah, I mean, it's just. It's obviously not Judge.
Vlad is 7th in the Blue Jays. You want to name the Blue Jays top 7?
No, I don't want to do that.
Figure out guess who number 1 is.
Is it Joe Carter?
No.
Is it Batista?
Carter is 5th. No, Bautista's 2nd.
Is it Encarnacion?
3rd. So you are going to name the top 7.
God, who could it be then? George Bell?
No, he's 6th.
Holy smokes.
Vlad is at 189.
Delgado?
Carlos Delgado, 336 home runs, and you missed number 4, Vernon Wells.
Okay, all right, that makes sense.
Your Toronto.
Leaders. All right, I got to go team by team. All right, it's not Baltimore, it's not Boston, it's not New York. There's Tampa. Who's the all-time home run leader in Tampa? Oh, I don't think it's it. There's no way any of those guys have been around long enough to like Yandy Diaz. No, is it Tampa? It's not Tampa. It's not Tampa. It's not Toronto. We already established that. To the Central, Chicago.
Evan Longoria for the Rays.
Okay. Chicago. No, there's Frank Thomas has to be the guy in Chicago. Cleveland. Oh no, Tommy. Detroit. No, that's got to be K-Line. Kansas City. We already established. Minnesota. What?
I was wondering if I should give you a hint to speed it up, but I guess I'll just keep letting you go. Keep letting you go.
Hang on, I'm going team by team here.
Right,
I would say Minnesota's got to be like Killebrew. It can't be
that sounds right. It's not
Minnesota. Houston, Altuve? No, Bagwell. Bagwell, obviously in Houston. What am I doing? Then the Angels, we already established is Trout.
It is Killebrew in Minnesota.
Athletics is not anybody that's playing for them. It's got to be, who is the Athletics? That's a good question. Is that McGuire, Canseco? Reggie Jackson, I don't think was longer there. It's either McGuire or Canseco.
McGuire.
Okay. Seattle's got to be Griffey. Texas. Seager hasn't. I don't think it's Texas. I think it's Palmeiro or Gonzalez.
Palmeiro's 2, Juan Gonzalez, number 1.
All right. Atlanta, no. Boy, we really are going team by team. Ooh, Miami. Who is the all-time? There's no way it's anybody that's currently on the team. I couldn't even tell you who besides Kyle Stowers is on the team. And didn't he get sent down again at some point? Didn't he
really?
I could have sworn I saw something. No, he didn't. Never mind. Norby got.
Oh yeah, okay, that would make a little more sense. They got him playing first base though.
Oh, could it be Stanton? Is it Stanton?
Their second highest paid player this season, Giancarlo Stanton, 267 home runs with the.
Right, we already did New York. Philadelphia's got to be Schmidt because we always forget how many home runs Schmidt hit. The Cubs, I assume that's Sammy. Cincinnati, I don't think Votto's not active, right?
No, he's not.
He's not active, so it doesn't even matter.
And it's not him. He's second behind
Johnny Bench. Okay.
This ended up being a long tidbit anyway.
Milwaukee. Oh, so you're telling me it's the end of the NL West?
Yeah, it is.
So San Francisco's Bonds. San Diego. Is Manny Machado is San Diego Manny Machado?
Manny Machado is the all-time home run leader for the San Diego Padres.
Holy S. I guess that's like an Alonso one where there's just not anybody. Like Tony Gwynn obviously didn't hit home runs.
Yeah, and he's got quite a bit.
I bet Ken Caminiti is near that.
Who did he pass? Was 163 before.
Caminiti.
Nope.
Klesko?
Nope.
Nevin?
Nope. Nevin's 5th.
I don't know.
Nate Colbert.
Oh, we could have been here a long time without me getting Nate Colbert. Dog.
Nate Colbert.
Wow. All right. Very good. Let's get Tubular because we've done 2+ hours of show today, you son of a bitch.
How's it my fault?
Have you ever thought of taking a cruise to these wonderful destinations with sunny skies and beautiful beaches? Well, wait no longer. We're ready for you to cruise from the Cruise Maryland Terminal.
Have a little phrase that you can go from baggage to margarita in about 15 minutes.
Choose fun with an array of destinations, onboard activities, entertainment, and world-class cuisine.
Contact your travel agent and book your cruise today. Let your adventure begin.
All right, here's what's coming up tubular-wise. The Orioles are going to play again. I swear that's not a threat. But they do have Kyle Bradish on the mound for this one.
Stopper.
There is at least a chance, although the pitching ain't the problem. Not that Shane Baz was great yesterday. He put Shane Baz on his list.
Well, he did go 10. And his ERA was technically like 1.6 or something for the week.
He gave up 8 base runners in 4 innings.
I know. It wasn't good yesterday.
You can't be on the list. Cobb Radish, and maybe I understand why he didn't want to set such lofty goals. Maybe it makes. Cobb Radish, Kiter. He's a good kid. Cobb Radish, Kiter Montero, 640 on Mass, and that's it sports-wise. Anything? Oh, the tennis tournament starts in D.C. today.
What is that? Is that the City?
The City Open, indeed. The City Open. It doesn't have the field that it's had some years. Like some years, they've like gone out of their way to bring in like mega stars. It's still a good field. I think, in fact, Venus is playing again this year.
Yes. Are you going to any of the?
A lot of years I try to get down. I got a lot going on this week. I got friends coming into town. We'll see. We'll see. Kids are at camp this week, so I do have a chance. But
there's the Memphis is going on as well. Is that a thing?
Nobody cares about the Memphis.
Okay.
That's not.
It's listed on my app though, so it's like
DC's a 500. DC's.
Ooh, I'm in Navarro and Sophia Kenin right now.
What?
Right now?
Yeah. I mean, the field's good. It's good. It's just not overwhelming. And they've gone out of their way to bring in like Nadal in the past. They've gone out of their way to like spend money to chase
Linus Svitolina,
big time players. They've got a good field. I think Medvedev and Fritz are playing this year.
Yeah, Fritz is in it. Tiafoe.
Musetti maybe is playing this year.
Yeah, Musetti. I think he's about to start.
Yeah. I mean, they got a good field. It's a good field. It's just not like an overwhelming field.
Nakashima.
Yeah.
Tommy Paul.
Nakashima's not really. Tommy Paul. Yeah.
He's American.
They've got good Americans. Yes, they've certainly got good Americans and Medvedev and Musetti. Musetti's a legit guy. Like, that's what they've got. Okay, come on.
Benny Shelton.
We got to go.
Oh, there's nothing. Shark Week's this week.
Oh, right. I was going to make a joke that I'm not going to make.
Oh, what are you going to make?
I'll make it off the air.
Shark Week. And then there's a show called Furious on Hulu with Emily Rossum.
Oh,
from
Emmy Rossum?
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah,
Emmy
Rossum.
Emmy Rossum from Shameless.
Does it look good?
Yeah, it
she
does
was
look
great
solid. It's the same.
She was awesome.
You like that show, Dying for Sex, right? It's the same executive producer. That
well,
yeah.
What's her?
But this one's like
yeah.
all serious though. It doesn't look like there's any
it as
comedy
much, then.
aspect.
Like
there might be a jab or something in there, but
all right, we'll see.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see what other folks say.
Very good. Thanks today to Marc Trestman. Thanks to Brad Brach. Thanks to Femi Ayanbadejo. We'll get all that up in the greatest hits section of the.
Fallon's going to have Jim Gaffigan, Carly Kloss, and BB Rexa.
No.
No?
I like Gaffigan enough.
Yeah.
No.
What's wrong with Carly Kloss and BB Rexa?
What are they going to do? I don't like BB Rex's music.
Well, Carly Kloss will, I guess, walk the runway or something.
That's what I'm saying. Like, what am I watching at that tour? I would not go to that tour. I do like Gaffigan. Like, don't get me wrong. I like Gaffigan.
Sounds like you hate Gaffigan.
But, like, not enough to,
Related to Mike Gaffigan?
No, that's Gaffigan with a TH. This is Gaff. Tab
yeah, but if they're phonetically similar.
Thank you. Tab at GlennClarkRadio.com. Tomorrow on the program, former Packers executive Andrew Brandt is going to join us, media guy. He's got a book out. We'll talk to him about that. Anything else?
Bob Nightingale.
Bob Nightingale from USA Today. We'll talk about the trade deadline with him. Thanks to everybody at PressBox, all of our great sponsors and partners, including Live Casino and Hotel, the Baltimore Orioles, the Costas Inn, the Baltimore area High's Dairy Stores, Leading Edge Auto Body, Warnken Law, 1-800-GAMBLER, HelpMyGamblingProblem.org, Cruise Maryland, County Sports.zone, the Maryland Department of Health, your local Toyota dealer, buyatoyota.com. Thanks to Griffin at Griffin_Bass. Follow us, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Glenn Clark Radio. Have a great Monday evening. Go Birds. Duke sucks.